Good evening to one and all present here. Myself Surya Narendran, MBA student at SOMS NIT Calicut. Today we all have gathered here for another stunning NIPM session on the topic Contemporary Issues in People Management. I am extremely honored to welcome our chief guest Mr. P.T. Joyce, Vice President HR and Admin at V-Guard Industries. He is an experienced corporate vice president in human resources with a demonstrated history of working in consumer goods industry over 36 years. And he is also a fellow of Indian Society for Training and Development. And I personally got an auspicious opportunity to have my internship with Vigard Industries, and I'm very much privileged to welcome you, sir, again to this session. And I request you to enlighten the audience with your valuable wordings. And I would like to extend my warm welcome to Dr. Muhammad Shafi sir, HOD, School of Management Studies, NIT, and Dr. Srijit sir, NIPM Faculty Coordinator, and Mr. Jitin Chakalekal, NIPM Student Chapter Industry Mentor. And finally, all the participants who join here in this session and have a great discussion ahead. And I'm kindly welcoming George sir to take up this session.
So thank you very much, Surya. So today is really a happy day for me also. So since our young colleagues from our HR team, they competed for the KMA, Kerala Management Association Young Managers Award this year, and they got first place, which held today in online mode. So that way, at least the young talents are getting a great opportunity to compete with the industry leaders. Okay, so I take this opportunity to thank Jidin for arranging this session. So it is part of our NIPM. Jidin is part of the NIPM Calicut group. So I am also in the committee where we have the student chapter interactions also will be part of our activity. So this takes me back to my college days when I used to attend the NIPM Trivandrum chapter activities. Monthly, there used to be an evening talk with some good resource persons. So that was a good opportunity to listen to the speaker as well as building a network with the senior people in the HR function. So that has helped me a lot in my earlier career phases. So I was able to network with them, and then that was a big step forward in my developing my career. So I am happy that at least you have a student chapter and you have very close association with the NIPM group team at Calicut. So that way you are getting the opportunity to network with the larger organization. So we come as the Calicut group also comes under the Kerala chapter, which is one of the best chapter in the country in terms of activities, in terms of the initiatives we are doing. So you get the exposure to a larger audience of senior 600 senior members of NIPM profession. So that is your opportunity. So that way I congratulate the team in coming forward and forming the student chapter and utilizing the forum to network with the industry as well. So it is definitely important. They say that at least there are 15 lakh engineers are passing out every year in India. You know that it is not practically possible to give employment for everyone in the country. So then what to do? So it is important that we build global skills so that our people will be able to get employed anywhere in the world. Many people are migrating to many countries. So that is the opportunity, when they go outside, they get the opportunity. So when they are at the college level, it is important to develop the global skill so that the location may not be an issue. You should be able to get a job anywhere. So that is on one side. The other side is, I was just going through the latest Harvard Business Review. What is it talking about? It's talking about future proofing your organization. Future proofing. That is a new terminology coming in, future proofing. How does it happens? So it is important that we understand what is happening with the global trends. So it is talking about preparing your team to stay ahead in the post-pandemic world. More than 60% of companies' roles can be filled by current employees, assuming that adequate programs are in place. By 2030, millennials will make up 75% of the workforce, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. Managers will be looking for a workplace where value proposition different from last 10 years or 5 years. And the new generation wants flexible schedules, diversity in workplace, engagement, autonomy, and meaningful communication with the employer. So these are all the latest challenges we are seeing across the globe. And then from there, when you come back to our own places, what do we see? We see a lot of war for talent. That is, the war is happening in the corporates. Why? The opportunities are limited, but the options for the candidates are multiple. My son was saying the other day, he was interviewing a candidate from an IT company in Kochi. The candidate was getting 38,000 rupees. He offered an increase to 55,000 rupees salary. He did not come. After 5 months, when he was checking, they realized that he got an offer of 1 lakh rupees. He's on a notice period, so he checked. He got an offer of 1 lakh from the same company, which is 12 lakhs. And he is also talking about another offer in his hand, which is talking about 13.5 lakhs. So you understand what is the gap coming up. At 38,000, maybe it will be about 3.54 lakhs plus. And from 4 lakhs to 14 lakhs, what increase is? This is something which we cannot even dream of in a short period of time. There are people we have seen changing job from one company to another company over a period of maybe 6 months to 1 year. So in 2-3 jumps, they may be able to double the salary. But you see how the things are going up. This is exactly what I was saying. It is difficult. People are being retained. It was not like this in the past. When we were offering a candidate, we were sure of getting the candidate. I was talking to my ex-boss the other day. He was coming from meeting of the Madras Management Association. He said he was talking to someone, and the other person was saying they were waiting for a candidate to join 3 months. End of 3 months, he asked for a 10 days extension. And after that 10 days, he declined the offer. What should have happened? Definitely, the company should have tried to retain him. He should have been negotiating with the company for a better offer. Even today also, I got another a mail from one of the candidates whom we have offered a position. He says that, no, it is, I was very seriously, my children were brought up with a core principle of joint family values, and they are not willing to relocate along with me from Coimbatore to Kochi. So there is no point. I am coming with my wife and sacrificing the children's, connections. So these are the ways of people talking about it. You cannot expect all this thing when you offer a beautiful salary and then position also. And then if on the last moment people says that, no, I'm not coming. So there is a lot of ethics and values also involved in there. People are talking about values on one side. I'm happy that he is talking about the core values of the joint family system, wherein his children also will get the exposure to the larger family. That is definitely appreciable. But at the same time, you look at how many months we have been searching for a candidate, finalizing a candidate, then the notice period, and all waiting all through this time. And finally, when you get back to know that the candidate is not coming, then it becomes an issue. This is not the first time. We have another position. We have seen a candidate from Kolkata. We have seen a candidate from Delhi. Both of them declined on the last moment. So, which means that at least, okay, they were not very ambitious. They were only asking for about 20% increase on their salary or 30% increase salary. So it's not very significant amount. So we thought that at least, okay, they are not looking for a change for money. So they are looking for a profile. So definitely they should be able to join us. And on the last minute, when they get this is what I was saying, that no, this is the war, because the opportunity for the candidates are multiple, but for the corporates, the choices are very limited. So we will have to continue the situation. And what is happening in the country? We had there is a job reduction by 12 million. We had 403.5 million jobs before COVID in India. 126 million jobs were lost. It recovered back to 400 million by November, December last year. But again, with the second wave, it has gone down to 390 million, which means that about 12, 13 million people, jobs are lost still. So that's how the industrial segment is happening. So then you have you will have to live with the liquid workforce, talent on demand. That's how it is behaving now. So these are all the challenges we need to be facing every now and then. That's why I thought of sharing some of the thoughts will be enlightening you. Study shows that now 1/3 of individuals working in US corporations are not employees of those companies. Google has more contract or temporary workers than their full-time workers. It is a 1.3 versus 1.23 lakh employees. So shifting to the people say that okay, shifting the workforce like a faucet. When you want water, you open the faucet. When you don't want it, you close it. Like that, the workforce also. When you need it, you should take it. Otherwise, when you don't need it, you should be able to spare it. Earlier, it used to be a flexible workforce. People will say that at least okay, so we will have at least 30% of the workforce flexible. So when there is a sudden increase or a sudden decrease, you will be able to regulate your manpower. That was what was the talk. And now again, you see that now the qualifications will disappear. What is happening earlier? People used to say MBA is preferred over a postgraduate diploma. Why? Because that has got a good market. That is why people were preferring. Now, again, that is also getting changed to knowledge, not the degree. That is the new trend coming in. Google has already announced that they don't college degree is not necessary for jobs. So when college degree is not necessary for jobs, it becomes knowledge is more important than the degree. So it becomes a big disruption to the educational system. Does it mean that at least okay, we can close our books? There is no point in studying. Even if we study, we get a degree. It is not required. Then why should we study? You may not be reading newspaper. When I go to colleges, I ask how many of them read newspaper. The answer which I get, it may be 3 to 4% only. It doesn't matter. That is all right, provided you are current with your knowledge on what is happening around you. You don't have to read the newspaper to get the updates. It is available. It is coming on your mobiles. So you should be fresh with that. You can directly handle the information. So this is what is happening. So whenever you get the opportunity to interact with people, you may be getting some interesting topics for that will be very very interesting. So this is how the talks we will be whenever we were attending the talks. That's how we were getting the input from people. So yesterday there was a KMI meeting. There was an MKK Nair Memorial lecture. The chief secretary was talking about he was saying that furnish your mind to make you happy. The happiness is important. When you sit in an office, you make your office beautiful. So when you make your office beautiful, you will be happy. So how many hours you will be spending in your office? So he is saying that instead of restricting the happiness in an office room, you furnish your mind with colorful memories or happiness, so that at least you will be continue to be engaging with the happiness. So that is an interesting quote which he was saying. So these are all things which people will be sharing, and then we'll be getting. And similarly, there is another the phrase called moonlighting, working in more than one company. So people are currently, now people are working from home. You don't know how many hours you will be working for the company, how many hours they will be doing activity for others. So it can also happen. We had one experience recently. A new employee joined recently, but yeah, since he was working from Hyderabad and COVID time, no, he was the company not comfortable to come to office, and we were also not asking all our people to come to office, so we allowing them to work from home. After 1.5 months, we were not able to get to him, and then when we were asking him, he said that no, at least okay, so I couldn't. So I was, busy with my brother who got an accident, and he has sent some photographs of his brother's accident, the knee with the stitches and all. How do we know whether the stitches and the hospitalization or the accident which has happened to the employee or his brother? We don't know. We can only believe what he is saying. So this type of things are also maybe happening to some extent, even if it is not a wider one. But when the moonlighting says that no, you're working for multiple companies, you may be committing your time, particular time, this many hours, I will be available to you. It may be okay. It is like a contract. Many people are now opting for contractual job also. So you say that no, at least okay, I will commit 7 hours, 8 hours of my time for this job. I have also agreed with another consultant based in Hyderabad. He says that no, at least okay, it is on a project mode. It is okay. So we can now give him some work. We give him some payment, and then he does the work for us, and the rest of his time he work for other companies also. It is fine. So these are all trends. What is happening across. We never expected that the scenario will evolve like what we are seeing it now. In the initial phases of lockdown, companies said that at least 25%, 40% people will work from home. And at some point of time, TCS said 75% of our people will work from home. We thought that at least okay, progressively we will be working towards that. And in the last quarter, when the financial results were announced, TCS announced that 96% of their people were working from home. Can you imagine? Nobody expected this type of a work scenario where people will be working from home. So that is a trend which is coming up. And then, it's not an easy thing. When you work from home, there are also a lot of challenges are there. So you're at home, you need, multiple people will be working from home. You may not have the connectivity or bandwidth to support multiple people. Husband may be working, wife may be working, children may be studying. So now everything is on online. So you will have to share the bandwidth available. So that was also another challenge which we were facing. So in March 2020, middle of March, we thought that at least okay, the COVID situations are aggravating. Anything can happen. We may be forced to shut down our offices. If it is shut down, how do we manage the office? We thought that at least okay, so we will have a 1 day or 2 day shutdown and see how our people will be working from home. We actually started preparing. We had series of meetings and prepared that at least okay, there will be some protocols. There will be a functional level meeting at 9 o'clock. At 9:30, the HODs will have a meeting, and at 10:30, we will have a management committee meeting at the top level of the organization to review how the day was going, how the people are working, how the activities are moving. So we have we have planned everything and decided that Monday we will be starting, or Tuesday we will be doing this. By the time the previous Friday, Kerala government announced that from Monday onwards, we are declaring lockdown. So there is no choice. On short notice, we also decided to go with the lockdown instead of Tuesday work from home from Monday itself. Abruptly, we are changing our plan to work with. Fortunately, our IT team started working with implementing the Microsoft Teams installed in mobiles and laptops. So this by February, March, this was done. So in a way, we were fully prepared for a seamless transition from an office to a home working. It was possible. And then once we started the lockdown, we thought it is only for 1 or 2 weeks. Then it started extending further. Then it became a tension. We were also wondering, how people are going to face this situation. Suddenly, people who were sitting 8 to 10, 14 hours in an office are sitting at home. Then we were not sure about what type of challenges they will be facing. We thought we will connect with the people, and then we have arranged series of sessions with the branch wise. Across we have 31 branches. We had a branch wise meeting of all people in the branches with the corporate team to understand with the marketing and the HR team together. So we thought we will listen to people to understand what is happening. We were surprised. People were saying that no, we are enjoying the time. We have been supporting the cooking, washing, cleaning, the helping the children. All these sorts of activities were also happening in addition to their work. And on the work front also, they were having extensive meetings at the branch level also, since the business is not happening. They thought that at least, okay, we will network with the channel partners, the dealers, distributors, networks, so that at least they wanted to reiterate the connection and the relationship with the team online, so that once the office is reopened and when people are going back to business, we should be familiar faces. Otherwise, naturally, they will ask, where were you? We did not see you for the last so many months. That type of an issue should not come. So that is why they thought that at least connectivity is required. So we were networking, planning, strategizing how we should be going in. This continued for the first half of last financial year. April to September, it was a bad half year for business. There was not much of an activity, practically nothing. But we were able to strongly establish network and connectivity with the channel partners, so that at least we were fully connected with the market. October onwards, it was a reasonably good business, and second half we have done very well, and our people got the variable pay also of 200% instead of 100%. So that was a good business coming back in the second half of that. So this business recovery was possible with the networking of people across the organization. So that is what has helped in building it. For you, it is important that when you are preparing yourself, what is important? You need to do the homework. I was happy when Christy said that now he was started talking about V-Guard. This is exactly what we were expecting. When you are having somebody coming from a corporate, you should be doing some Googling to understand what is this fellow's background, what is his organization, what are they doing, what business are they doing. When you do that, you get the the relationship established in a short period of or point of time. That's good. This is exactly important for everyone. So when you're going for an exam, will you go without any preparation? It will be sleepless night. You will be spending all your time preparing, so that when you get to the examination hall, you should be able to score good marks. That's what you do. This is the same thing required for the corporate also. Industry is also expecting the same thing. I remember when I was interviewing a candidate for an HR job, I was asking her, when was the last time you get a time to see our website? She said, sir, sorry, I was playing with my cousins. I did not get time to go through the website. Is that an acceptable answer? I felt very sorry disturbing her from playing with her cousins. That should have been maybe after a couple of years of rigorous study, she got a break and then she was spending the time. But why are we studying? We are studying to get into some organization. And when there is an opportunity coming and knocking on your door, can you afford to play with your cousin, or you should be doing some preparation so that you should be through with the interview? I'm sure you will agree that the preparation is required and everyone needs to do that. So this homework is definitely required so that we are fully prepared. The study shows that even in LinkedIn survey, it says 50% of the job seekers see companies' site before applying. Before applying for a job, 50% of the people are going through the website of the company to understand what is this organization is about. Is this the right place to go? If the culture of that organization is not matching with my personal values, I don't want to go. I don't want to apply. But if you see that, no, at least, okay, it is an interesting organization, why not we apply? Then that information is coming from your research on or Googling the data so that you are familiar with the organization where you are applying. That is important. So different organizations are experimenting different approaches. The other day I was attending another meeting, IIT Trichy. They started an HR MBA program last year. So you know what they have done is that no, there are about 30 students in one batch. They have identified 30 corporate senior people from the corporate as their mentors. It is a one-to-one mentoring. That is the opportunity they have provided. So I was also, invited this time to become a mentor for one of the students. I got a candidate student from Ghaziabad. They are working from home only now or studying from home only now. So this is how some of the organizations are working, and people are spending 18 to 20 hours in a day, either working on the projects or assignments or spending time with the library and all that, not necessarily only going through the classes. That's not the only option. So this is how many of the successful B schools are doing. So when that is happening, can we afford to have a 9 to 5 work schedule or study structure for our students? It may not be possible. You may not be able to compete with the other people. We have announced a big idea competition. This is to provide a platform for the cream of the country. Most of the IIMs, the top ranking B schools are attending the competition. We have been doing it for the last 10 years, 11 years. The students from IIM Shillong to IIM Jammu, almost all the institutes, people are coming and participating. It is a 2 lakh rupee prize money competition. So when we are opening a facility like this, so why do you want to participate in that and compete with the cream? So there will be 20 teams getting the opportunity to make the presentation on the final day. 20 teams. They get the opportunity to interact with the topmost brains of the corporate India. It's not a small thing. So you are directly interacting with them and seeing what is happening in other good B schools, how they are preparing themselves. That is the opportunity, that learning, where you can get it. It may not be possible. How many years of experience or the exposure are they being sharing in this platform? So there is a prize money on the one side, and the other side, the great opportunity for learn or compete with the team cream of the country. So we had more than 1,000 people participated over the years. So that's how it is going. So once we started there, this is also a brand building exercise. We started giving internship to the candidates who are getting the prizes. We started hiring people. We are a 44-year-old organization. We never had IIM students in our organization. We were a small company, homegrown, with the people working for the company for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 35 years, like that. So many of them having only one industry experience, that is a V-Guard experience. The last 5 or 6 years, we have realized that this growth is not sufficient. We need to grow faster. So we have ventured into hiring a lot of lateral entry. So we should have hired about 200 people from the industry to make our knowledge base enlarged. So many of the competition, the opportunity coming in, the technology or the knowledge is coming through that. So that is how we were growing. So we were giving the opportunity for IIMs. So when IIM candidates are coming, we should be able to develop an opportunity for being mentored by the senior in the organization, so that they are picking up and growing fast. So we started within HR also. We started hiring people from good institutes. We have hired from BMTech Delhi. We have hired from, of course, the NIT is also one of the organizations. We have hired people. We have hired International Management Institute Delhi. So these are all the youngsters who have gone for the competition and won the award. It is definitely last time also, last year before last was the last competition. Last time also we won, but that was with the participation of one of the senior people also in the team. So this time all only women team participated and won the tournament and won the award or the competition. So we give the opportunity. So these are all things, at least we get the exposure. So the candidates coming out from the B schools or the engineering colleges, people say that no, the employability is only 25%. So when you say that your employability is only 25%, how do you bridge the gap of 75% employability part? That is possible only through industry institute interaction. We need to have the interaction with the people to understand what is happening in the industry. We will be thinking that whatever things we are learning, whatever our professors are teaching, whatever teachers are telling us, that is the reality. But when you interact with the people or when you come out and join an organization, you realize that many things are different. Many challenges are there. So it becomes important when you are being a part of the college also, you should have the exposure to the industry to understand the industry requirements. And when you are making up to bridge the gap of 75% on the employability skills, you will also get a better chance to get jobs going forward. We have seen now many of the candidates will be writing in their resume, I have very good leadership skills. It's good. The resume may be prepared by an expert from outside. Maybe you should have paid somebody and then prepare the resume. It is fine. But whatever things you write, the interviewer will be reading that, and naturally he will ask a question. Can you explain what are the activities or you have taken to demonstrate your capability or your leadership qualities? If you have not done, can you say that I was a member of a committee organizing a program? Being a member may not be a leadership role also, but then you should be able to explain. If you are not able to explain properly or convincingly that these are all the leadership initiative I have taken during my course in the various activity and conducted in the institute. If you are able to say that, at least you will have a better chances. So that interview is also you can lead the interview. How you will be leading whenever we ask you what is your area of interest. If you are able to say something interesting, naturally the next question also will come on that side. So it continues. So that at least it will be a journey towards your knowledge. And as I was reading and talking about reading newspaper, your depth of knowledge on concept is very much important. If you don't have deep knowledge on the concept, then it will be difficult. When the questions are asked, one question you may be able to answer. Second time you may struggle. Third time you will fail. So what you need is you should have the depth to talk about on a subject, so that at least you have a better chance. These days a lot of analytics, HR analytics, people are talking about analytics now. So there are courses also in the analytics. You should be able to continuously upgrade your skill, your knowledge and knowledge, so that at least you have a better chance. So that is also important. I was also interacting with one of the colleges where we were planning to have a combined program of conducting a certification course on HR analytics. When I was talking to them, I thought that the HR, statistical tools being used earlier was SPSS. Now somebody was telling me that there is a new tool called a new program called R. So how do you get to know what is the latest trend in the industry or what is the latest trend in the domain? So when we are interacting with people, we get to know. Once we get to know about that, then we should go into the details. That is important. When we were having a discussion, one of our, I was the associated with ISTD also. When of our past national president came for a meeting, she was talking about Demographic dividend. I was hearing the terminology first time, demographic dividend. What is this? I thought, maybe she must have been telling something which I did not understood. So I left it at that point of time. Another day when I was going for the meeting with the college, then I thought I'll just Google it, see what is it. Then I realized that this is something which is being discussed across globally. People are talking about demographic dividend because we have an youngsters in the country compared to many other countries in the world. We have an young population, and that because of that, at least we are going to have the real benefit of the demographic dividend. It's coming. So these are all things which will be coming in our way, so that we need to be going into when we go into depth, we understand that there is more things to be learned on that. So that is very important. So the technology is another area where we will have to be spending a lot of time. For HR people or in any organization, punching attendance is an important activity. There were a lot of systems, I was familiar with, the card punching system, punching clock. And it was progressively with the technology, it was going to, then the next level was biometric, which was widely used. Last March, when the COVID came, government said, stop punching using the biometric. You're not supposed to use biometric because it can cause spread of COVID. So don't use it. You go back to the paper and pen, the earlier system. Since the factories offices were closed, we never experienced any problem immediate. After a couple of months, April, May, we were starting thinking about reopening the factories and offices. Our factory people said that at least we cannot go back to the paper one, and there are 300, 400, 500 people. It's not possible to manually track the attendance. So we need a punching system or a better technology. So we thought that there is not much other options available. So instead of fingerprinting, we provided with a card, punching card, proximity card, which you can use it. We bought it, dispatched to all factory locations, and we have said that at least you can start using it. In 1 month's time, our people in corporate come back and said that there is a possibility of geotagging. We started working on that. We come up with a solution where your attendance can be marked using your mobile phone. So you don't have to go to the punching machine. You don't have to use your finger for biometric punching. So you can use your own mobile phone for punching your attendance. We have implemented it in 1 or 2 months' time. So the mobile app was having the feature, and when you are inside the office premises, you can punch your attendance. You don't have to stand in the queue. You don't have to wait for somebody else to complete the punching and avoid that. You can do that while you are coming out from your vehicle or walking through to the lift. You can mark your attendance. It's a technology which has come up. That was very easy to do that. So when this type of a change is coming, it is very, it's a big disruption. What we have experienced that initially, sometime before the COVID time, we thought about we will go for a face recognition technology. Our people were saying, no, it may not be safe. It will have a big risk. You're going to videograph everyone coming in and all. We don't know what type of a risk will be associated with that. Forget about it. We did not proceed it further. But this type of technology came in. Now more technologies are available. When you are walking to the office, the camera can scan you and then recognize your facial expressions. And with that, you can recognize your face and then mark your attendance. They are not videographing or recording anything. They'll just recognize your face and mark your attendance time of your attendance. That is possible. And there are companies which is using this technology of facial expressions to see that how happy are you when you are coming to the office. If the happiness index is not good, the corporates can start thinking about how we can bring in more, activities or engagement activities to make people happy. So those were the options available. And with the COVID, which has come up, is one new trend which has come up was is 6 feet office. There is a company called Cushman and Wakefield. They have helped 10,000 organizations in China to bring back 1 million people back to work. What are they doing? They are talking about the 6 feet is the distance you have to maintain between two people in an office with the social distancing norms. And when you are coming in, contactless pathways, the door will be opening, recognizing you coming in. So that doors opening is available in many places, but it may not be available in most of the corporates. But we are talking about that whether we can bring that technology so that you don't have to touch somewhere, you can just walk in. The contactless pathways, doors opening automatically using motion sensor, face recognitions, this type of technologies were also coming in when we were coming in. So this is also another challenge when we were facing, when we are managing people in a COVID scenario. Lot of restrictions were there. Earlier, people were just coming in. Now, when you come in, security will stop you. They will check your temperature. That is the camera. This special technology is being used to mark your temperature to allow you inside. Once that you are inside, then of course the mask is being checked. The sanitizer is also available. That is also being checked. And then there also the technology has started. People are using a different type of the sanitizer. So auto dispenser is being planned. Our R&D people also done some work, and they have brought in some machines so that you just show your hand, the dispenser will be on your palm. So this type of the changes coming in, it is coming out of the compulsion to work in your office. So you need to have series of sessions with the people on the SOPs, standard operating procedures. There are a lot of protocols being introduced in the organization. This was not a practice in the past. We were allowing people to freely come in. There was no issue. But with the restrictions, unless people are fully tuned to observing the protocols, it becomes very difficult. I was in the hospital today morning. When I was walking, I saw the security guards reminding people, you put your mask properly, cover your nose and mouth. People are using it. Everyone is using mask, but they are keep reminding that at least you use it properly. So this type of the follow-up is required. Sometimes people will say that these are all inconveniences coming in our working, but that's how the people have been pushed to use it. So we need to familiarize people with that, like the sessions which we were having, interacting with our employees across the country to understand how they are facing or adjusting with the COVID scenario. So similar to that, when you're going back to the office, you need to be following strictly all the protocols. These are all additional activities, and we spend a lot of time preparing the protocols. So how many SOPs are required? We need one for our marketing people. We need another one for our quality people who are going to the vendors. We need another one for the customer service people who are going to the customers to service our product. And we need the marketing people. They will be going to the shops so that at least they take care of what are the precautions or procedure they should be following on that. When people will be traveling on vehicle, what are the precautions you need to use it? How many people can travel on a vehicle? So those things are required. What type of mask you should be wearing? And then like that, at least in factories, we have another set of rules. So like that, at least more than a dozen SOPs were prepared. We have spent hours together working on that, deliberating on that, and refining and making these policies available, and taking all the people through this procedure across. And when this continued, the situation continued. Now another challenge was when people started the February, March, April, May, and all. We did not have any COVID cases reported from our employees. June, July, we slowly people started getting it. Then it became, it is peaking at September, October. So that time, when we were interacting directly, calling our people, they were saying that, at least, okay, sir, I am having COVID. My wife is having COVID. My children is having COVID. We don't know what to do. There is no hospital facility available. Government hospital, you cannot go there, and consultation is online only. I don't know what to do. I'm getting under tremendous pressure. So I said, no, at least, okay, you relax. You take care of yourself. Don't worry. We are with you. When somebody talk you from corporate HR to an employee, he gets the feeling that, no, at least, okay, when I am suffering, our people, the organization is with me. That is the biggest, uh, the relief an employee can get. I have personally experienced talking to, hundreds of people over the last few months, facing the challenges of this one. Some of the people were extremely difficult, and when the situation became peak, we have seen that no, at least there is no oxygen available. There is no oxygen concentrators are available. Ventilators are not available. How do you manage the situation? It was becoming a panic situation. So every corporate started thinking about it, and they started, mobilizing it. We also started it, and we also formed a cross-functional team. A help desk also we set up, 24/7 help desk, where people across the country, if they have a problem, they can contact us immediately, and our people will be there to help you. So when we communicated this message to our people, we got back many mails. It was a real eye opener for us. They were saying that no, this was like, this was like a customer delight. Employee was saying, this is something which we were looking for. We are extremely happy that the company is, coming forward to help us. We got a call from Lucknow asking that no, whether we can get a ventilator, not ventilator, the oxygen concentrator. So since we started the help desk and started the network of, the identifying the product availability, we were able to help the employee within a few hours time. So we were able to, arrange a ventilator and the concentrated in Lucknow itself. Similar to that, we have arranged it. An employee from Bhubaneswar, he was long time, couple of months he was in hospital, and even after discharge also, he was oxygen level was low, and he was advised to continue the support. So we have sent a concentrator from Coimbatore to Bhubaneswar, so that this employee is provided with a company-owned oxygen concentrator, so that he can conveniently and comfortably use it. So when you do that, you really realize that no, at least okay, the happiness coming from the people. Even in Cochin, people were frantically calling us and asking whether my wife is suffering. It's a serious condition. I don't know what to do. There is no bed available in the nearby hospital. Can you arrange a bed with a ventilator? Our people were able to contact different hospitals and finally arrange something. It is a big relief to the employee. An employee from Thrissur was saying that no, my mother is in a critical condition. The facility in Thrissur is not comfortable. Can you arrange something in Cochin? We said we will arrange. We have arranged also. But meanwhile, when they checked with the doctor, they advised that no traveling, the shifting the condition in that condition for the person from Trichure to Calicut is not advisable. So they shifted to another hospital in Trichure itself. So when you are able to connect with the hospitals or people and provide support like this, it becomes one of the biggest the service or the activity what an HR person can do in a critical situation, the life of an employee. We have been seeing how happy people were in response to our initiatives on this one. So that is very, the satisfying exposure on that. Yeah. So what I was referring is, mainly the challenges which
Sir, you are on mute.
Yeah. So the major activity what we were doing, in the COVID scenario is that the tracking what is happening across the country. So we have a weekly meeting with the people across representing our factories and the branches, so that we know what is happening across and when we will be able to go back to the office and all. So this way, this helps a lot in supporting people when they are troubled. So that is a big help. So what is happening is now currently also the 9 to 5. It is a thing of the past. It is an extended working. I was interacting with one of my managers recently when he was saying that no, earlier it was a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 period. Rest of the 2 weeks time, no, rest of the time you have your personal time available. So now with the COVID time, it is stretching to 7 days. It is stretching from 10 hours to 14 hours a day. It's not that somebody is asking you to spend that much time, but you realize that somebody or the other is looking for a decision, and sometimes your time is required to support them and help them. That is very much important. So the advantage what you are getting is when you're working from home, there is a big relief of saving of your commuting time. Study shows that about 53 minutes a day is being saved on commuting from office to home. So that is a big thing. You will say that at least okay, initially you get 1 hour time bonus. But what is the principle? The principle says that the work expands to fill the time available. When you're not traveling, when you're not commuting, you have time available. So your work expands to fill that time also. So voluntarily, it is expanding. When I was working in a hospital in Chennai, my boss told me that your working time will be 8 a.m. to 6 o'clock in the evening. So you can take a break at lunchtime. That's what she told me. So I thought it is 10 hours. It is too much. I don't know whether I will be able to comfortably spend 10 hours in the office. But I realized after a few months' time, 10 hours is not enough. It was stretching to 7 o'clock, it was stretching to 8 o'clock, which means that from 8 a.m. in the morning to 8 p.m. in the night. Even sometimes, it further gets extended also. So this is how, the work is getting expanded, and the time we are spending on work is also, going. That is also another thing. So then the connectivity is another issue. See, when you are working from office, the corporates are providing. That was the past also, all major facilities like the old people knows that, the Blackberries. It was a privilege of the corporate people. A premium handset. It is better than people holding now iPhone now. Old times, that was the biggest attraction. BlackBerry phone on your hand. So from there, at least these are all provided by the companies. You will have an air-conditioned office. You will have all this. You will have so many the facilities were provided. But I remember, sometime back when we were hiring a person from Delhi to Ahmedabad, he said that I need a 3G mobile. Our people said that no, sorry, we don't provide 3G to middle level people. Even our senior people are using 2G. 3G is not possible. In a few months' time, the Jio, Idea, the Airtel, they are all coming to the office and says that no, we will give you free Wi-Fi enabled in your office. They done the wiring on their cost and then they have provided it. And even our office boy started using 4G. When your office boy is using a 4G technology on his hand, can we say that no, at least okay, 3G is not possible, we will give only 2G? It is no more possible. The thought processes are getting changed. Now what are you experiencing? I am using my residential connection. I am using a 140 Mbps speed in my connection. I occasionally go to the office also. When I check it, my office speed is only 15 Mbps. I realize that now when we are going back to the office, how am I managing the office work? It may be a big challenge definitely for me unless the company provide a much better speed in the infrastructure provided there. So this is how the technology is changing, infrastructure is changing, people are getting tuned to the latest the technology, and then naturally, unless you provide that, it becomes a challenge. So the IT team, I would say, the biggest challenge they will be facing is the technology they can provide to people when they come back to the office, since they are already being experiencing such type of thing. And then it is important that no, at least you cannot be micromanaging people. So that is what sometimes it happens. The US Army General George S. Patton, he says that no, never tell people how to do things. Tell them what to do, and they will surprise you with their ingenuity. So this is how the people, sensible people, are talking. So you say that no, the military organization is a hierarchical organization when they are allowed to do only what is instructed. So that is the background. But this gentleman is talking something different. He says that no, don't tell people what to do. This is exactly the relevant thing. How do we manage people? So I often quote Steve Jobs. He says it does not make sense to hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people to tell us what to do. You understand the difference? We are not hiring people to and tell them you do these are all things you should be doing it. When I joined VGuard, nobody told me these are all the things you should be doing it. They must have thought that with the experience and the background and the industrial exposure, he understand what is the requirement of this company. We started working on that. In one of our earlier annual meeting, we said we are going, HR is becoming digital. We thought we will go into that direction fast. We have taken so many initiatives and then implemented many things. We started working on the from the recruitment itself. That was the biggest challenge we were facing it. When I came, when we were looking at, when we contact a candidate, the candidate's first question will be, can you share the JD with me, job description? When you look for a JD, there is no JD available. So that means what do you do? Which means that there is no clarity. So we need to build the job description and share it with the candidate and tell them this is what is expected from you. If your skills are matching, yes, we can continue our association, or we will welcome you to our organization. So there is a lot of empowerment being happening in the process. That is why I was quoting Steve Jobs. When you say that the people are given empowerment to take the decision and take the organization forward. There is a statement called the sunflower syndrome, which says that you look to the top for direction and decisions. Sometimes it may not be possible. You cannot be looking to the if all decisions are to be taken by the chief executive. How does it happen? I keep telling that our chairman spends 1 minute a day, because there is only one meeting he attends, a quarterly meeting, a policy meeting, which is about 90 minutes to 120 minutes. 90 minutes in a quarter means 1 day, 1 minute a day. So if the chairman is spending only 1 minute a day, how does the organization work? So that is the empowerment, so that people are allowed to take decisions, and then that's how it is going on. So that is how the successful organizations take decisions and empower people so that they are able to move fast in the journey. So this type of empowerment is required, and we started working on our innovative effort on digitization. That has helped us. The last 1 year, we got 3 or 4 national awards. We got an award from HRD Network, National HRD Network. We got award from National Institute of Personnel Management at national level. We got award from All India Management Association. And recently we got the first prize in the Ambition Box survey. Some of you must have seen that, it was widely circulated in the LinkedIn. It was an award based on the interview the company has taken from the people whom we have recruited in the past. We were not aware of the survey being happening. They have interacted with the people who were hired and taken the feedback And basis the feedback, we were declared number one in the category of 1,000 employee to 10,000 employee. It is a big recognition. Nationally, 25 companies were in the list, and we were the top one. So it has come only because the digital initiative we have implemented in our organization. So the onboarding process is completely digital. In 10-15 minutes time, anybody can complete the onboarding process. Earlier it was filling up a big booklet, and it was taking about 4 to 5 hours time. So a lot of repetition. You need to fill up your name, address, everything multiple times. So with the technology coming in, you don't have to repeat anything. You just have to fill up something, and with that, the rest of the formality will be done online in the system. So with our onboarding process became very great experience. So what we have done was that when a candidate is coming, we thought of giving him a visitor experience. We have installed a iPod at the reception so that they can just come in, key in mobile number and contact person. The system will capture their photo, and within a few seconds time, the message will come to the person whom they came to visit. If a visitor is coming, I'll be getting an alert on my mobile with the photograph of the visitor standing at the reception. So I can say yes, then the permission is granted and the visitor can come in. It was an excellent experience we thought of giving to the candidate when they are coming for an interview. And when they come as a candidate also, we give the excellent experience. And once they come in, we give them a good employee experience as well. So we used to get calls from different companies asking, saying that at least, okay, can we we provide chatbots. So I said, no, what do we do with the chatbot? They said that at least, okay, if you want to know where you can get your leave balance or where you can get the form 16 available, I said, where do you want to ask chatbot? You click on the mobile and download it. It is there on in a couple of seconds time. Your form 16 is downloaded on your mobile. Why do you want to ask somebody? So the information which you want to get it, you don't have to wait. It is there. You don't have to ask anyone. So that's how any employee in the company, we have provided an employee directory on the mobile itself. If I wanted to contact somebody anywhere in the country, I can just go to the mobile app and find out his mobile number, mail ID, designation, location, everything is information is available. I can call them directly. I don't have to ask anything. If it is in the office, you can ask the reception to connect me to this number or this person. It is easy. When you are working from home, these facilities are not available. So when we have provided such a facility on your mobile, it becomes absolutely comfortable to connect with anyone in the organization. So these are all the things, at least, okay. So we were working on the annual increments. It was a process, it was taking about, 4 to 6 weeks time, because a lot of process was there. And even for dispatch of, the letters, about 1,800 letters to be printed, sorted, and sent to branch wise. It takes, maybe 10 to 15 days time to reach across the country in remote locations. What we have done is that we have made it online on the mobile itself, on the mobile app. So you don't have to even open your laptop to see your increment letter. When we say that 7 o'clock in the Friday evening, your letters are released, you can access it. So on the first year, we got about 6,000 impressions within a couple of hours time, which means that anywhere in the country, when people are with their family, they can open the mail and see that it is okay, I got a promotion. So I am seeing my promotion letter in the presence of my family. What more recognition is required? Otherwise, you will have to wait for your boss to see and hand over the letter. It may take some time also, some days also. So you don't have to wait for any of that. It is available readily on your mobile. So this is how at least we started giving a delight to employee experience and supporting across the organization. So there are a lot of things we have done in digitizing the HR processes that helps in connecting with the employees across the country and then working with them. So that is how um, we have done some of the initiatives. So I thought I've been explaining some of the practical things, also the problems and challenges what we were facing, and how we were able to manage those type of aspirations and expectations. So I'm sure that you will definitely have some questions or queries to ask or clarifications to seek. So I thought we will spend some time on interacting with you rather than spending all my time with the monologue. So thank you very much for your listening. I look forward to listening to you again to understand whether you agree, disagree, appreciate, or different dispute on this concept. So that's what I look forward to you. Over to you. Thank you, Christy, Surya.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, so it is open for questions. So, anyone has any questions, you can ask.
Good evening, sir. I am Varsha. Sir, the advancement in technologies, even though the productivity of company increases, is it a challenge for employees? Because I heard many of my friends who works with leading MNCs saying like they want to resign the job after their bond period because they are not adaptive to this technological diversities. So is it like a challenge, sir?
It is always a challenge. I remember when I was working with Madura Courts 10, 15, 20 years back. So, there are senior people, middle-aged people saying that 45 years, 50 years, they were asked to go for computer classes and all. They're saying that no, so far we have been managing without any issue. Now you are asking me to go for a class like this. It's not possible. It is very difficult. I remember in my, in VGuard itself, we got a director. When I joined, he is now maybe around 72, 73 years. And he was telling me, my phone is okay. I have an ordinary mobile phone. That is enough. I don't need any BlackBerry. I'm comfortable with that. That's what he told me. In couple of months' time, he has gone for a latest smartphone, and then he started using WhatsApp also, and then he is there every moment on WhatsApp. Anytime you will be getting questions and all. So you see that now whether it is a 70-year-old person or a 45-year-old person or a 25-year-old youngster also, you don't have an option. And the technology is changing. That's why I said no. When the technology is moving from 3G to 4G, can we talk about now we will provide you 2G facility? It's not possible. You are redundant if you are not comfortable with that. When a 70-year-old person is comfortable in typing on your mobile, on the WhatsApp, comfortably, that means anybody in the world can do that. What is the problem for youngsters to learn it? No, we should learn that there is a reverse mentoring. That is the terminology used globally also. We are learning from the youngsters. We are learning from the newcomers. Some of the technology, maybe at home also, you must have seen that the latest technology, the latest film at home. The father is learning from their children. So it's not that now you are old and no more useful. You are dead. So you need to understand what is the current trend, and then you need to be adapting to that. So what is important is that you need to be relevant on the job. So when I say that I have 36 years of experience, if I am not relevant on my job, then I become a redundant person. My experience is not helping me. Whereas when I say that I have only 5-year experience, but I am able to manage my job, current job, that is it. So I am relevant on my job. That is very important. So you need to be relevant on your job. Otherwise, you have no place in the business or industry. That's what you should be keeping in mind. I hope I answered your question.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
My question is like a few days back there was a news in Indian Express regarding the work-life balance of Indians when compared to the other countries' employees. So in that, it's mentioned that like the work-life balance when compared to the other countries, the employees in India are having a lot of pressure, and ever since the pandemic, so they have to put in more efforts since it's work from home. So, what is your general take on that?
There will be pressure definitely, but it is not restricted to India alone. The scenarios are globally more or less similar. Everywhere in the world also it is same. We have been attending some of the webinar with the people joining from US also. The scenarios are same everywhere. It is the similar situations are there. But the people problems may be some problem may be specific to us also. Yes, I am not disagreeing with that, because the infrastructure we have at home, it may not be comparable across the country also. There may be places where the urban areas more facility infrastructure will be there. Village areas it may not be available. So there will be a big difference. In small houses, if 2-3 people are working, how do we adjust? There will be minimum bandwidth at home. You will have to share it with multiple people. How do we manage? There will be challenge definitely. So that is what I'm saying. At least okay, we also thought about it. So to supplement the bandwidth, we have given an additional allowance to people so that they can go for a better connectivity, so that the connectivity issue can be addressed. So you will have to understand what is the real issue and find a solution, so that at least they are able to manage it. That is why I said at least okay, my family is suffering from somebody sick, and then desperately looking for a bed, whether somebody can provide you. When you provide that, that is the biggest help we can provide to them. So whatever it is, whether it is the technology part or otherwise, when you have a problem, you need a help, you need a support, and the organization should be willing to extend the support so that they are comfortable at home.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hi, sir. This is Giridhar from first year MBA, Rishikesh, Uttarakhand. We have some sort of manufacturing in Kashipur of V-Guard. First of all, I'd like to thank you for today's session. It is indeed an honor for us to have heard you today and your great insights on some of the most important topics. My questions are two, actually. The first question is, as you mentioned, how you had to constantly deal with unexpected issues with employees. When a senior HR member, when you are a senior HR member in a company, you do face some sort of dilemma, whether you have to sometimes go out of the way to resolve employees' problems, or sort of stay with the company's rules and, not really go out of the way to help employees. Sometimes it does happen, right? So how do you deal with such, such dilemma or such situation? That is my first question, because what should we do? Like, if we are empathetic and ethical, what should we do? So that is my first question. And the second one is, how does a company ensure its senior most members follow corporate governance rules or are ethical? Examples of Chanda Kochar in ICICI Bank and Videocon case. So in that regard, yeah, I'd like to hear your answer. Thank you.
The first one, I will say that we don't give any advances to our people. We don't have any salary advance system in the company. But at the same time, COVID time, we have a medical insurance. In most of the cases, it is cashless. So there are no challenges. People are able to manage cashless facility when they are going to the hospitalization. But when the COVID hospitalization came, many of the hospitals across the country is not providing cashless facility for the patients, even though insurance is there. So we have to pay, and then we'll have to claim it. And when the hospitalization is coming, people may not be able to shell out big amount of money to pay the hospital bills. So this was a big challenge. So we thought that at least okay, COVID is different. For whatever support is required for attending a COVID situation, we are free to do that. So we have instantaneously supported with a cash advance to the employee, so that all his hospital requirements are met. We have given up to 7.5 lakhs to employees advance for the hospitalization. We thought that at least okay, when they come back, recovered, and then in due course of time, when they get the insurance, we will provide that. And wherever the insurance is insufficient to meet the COVID treatment, all those cases we have reimbursed the expenses to the employee, whether it is an employee, their parents or spouse or children. We have taken care 100% free of cost. So that's how we are done. So that is an out of the way action to support people in difficulty. That is a challenging time. So for the people who are the death cases, we have lost 5 of our colleagues. So we have ensured that 24 months CTC is given to them. We have some insurance. Wherever the insurance is insufficient to make up to a 24-month CTC equivalent, annual CTC equivalent compensation, we have supported from the company and given it. We have some of the associates, the service technicians, 5 people have died. So for those 5 people also, we have given a special assistance so that their families are taken care. That's what we have done. On the second question, I'll give you one example. We have recently taken a general manager for our product. So he was hired from a big company. But you know what has happened to us? No, we have a system of employment verification. We do verify 2 things. One is their relieving letter, and the second one is their payslip. So this is basically, we are giving a lot of importance to ethics, integrity of people. So what this gentleman has done is he manipulated on the payslip to show that his annual CTC was around 34 lakhs. He made it to 37 lakhs to negotiate with us for an increase. So in this particular case, I remember he started asking from 75 lakhs, which is almost not double the salary. There only we started the negotiation. So we have negotiated and we have hired him. He joined the organization. And then subsequently, we sent his documents, which was given by the employee to the company. They said this payslip is not correct. This is forged one. We call it a red report. In red report, there is only one action. He loses his job. So the choice is that now, for a crime what he has done, we should have terminated him. So we thought that no, it is okay. We don't want to trouble him. We will, he will be on the street. He is jobless. He lost his previous job. He's lost his current job. We don't want to push him into difficulty. So we told him you can resign and go. If you are not resigning, the other option is termination. Period. He resigned and left. So whether it is a junior person or a senior person, integrity issues, there are no compromises on this. There are people who have lost, maybe 10% of the hiring. These red reports are coming and people are losing. They may be an excellent performer, but no choice. Irrespective of the performance of the person, if the integrity is not good, he loses his job. That's what we do.
Yeah, it's really helpful, sir, the answers. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. Firstly, thank you for the great session. It was great listening to you. So you actually mentioned about digitizing HR processes at V-Guard. So would you like to mention a few of them? It will be helpful for us.
If you ask anything, it is digitally available. We were starting from your payslip. When I came, the payslip was printed, distributed. It will take maybe around close to 2 weeks time to reach across the country for our employees. We have made it online, and now we made it on the mobile itself. We have a mobile app called People Desk. This payslip, the salary intimation may be coming from the bank at 6 o'clock in the morning. Maybe 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, your payslip also will be available on your mobile. So that is one thing. Another thing is that the important document is now Form 16. That is available on the mobile. Then your increment letters are available on the thing. If you need a salary certificate, it is coming online on the system. Like that, most of the activities and employee requirements from HR is all done digitally. So that at least there are no issues. I remember when the salary certificates in one of my previous companies, people were getting, many of the workers will have loss of pay. So when they will look at it, which month they got a better salary, so they will come with that to apply for a loan. So we thought that no, this is a type of the fraud happening because they can influence to get a salary certificate with higher salary, and when their real salary is less, they may not have a recoverable salary. So what we have done is that we made it online so that it is system generated. The latest salary slip only will come from the system. So that no manipulation is possible. Like that, many of the system, what we do is that across the country, if it application it is coming, it will be coming through the system. So there is no delay. It is handled like that. So almost all HR related activities, it is done on online, on digital.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hi, sir. I'm Shaimee from first year MBA. So during the COVID period, mental issues of people are something which is mostly happening. So if they behave differently in an organization, is the organization to deal with it, or how long can we tolerate the negligence of work due to mental issues?
There are, as I was mentioning, we believe in empowering people. When people know what is, when I know that what is expected from me, what is my responsibility, I take care of that. I don't have to be monitored by somebody from anywhere. We don't have that. We say that the biggest definition of the culture is that what people does when no one is looking. So when you walk through our office, people are whether you imagine a classroom where the professor is not there, the class teacher is not there, then the students will be naturally making a lot of noise. A chaotic situation will be there in the classroom. No action, no study will be there. All shouting noises only will be there. But when you walk through our office, when you see that the people are doing their job, they don't bother about whether manager is there or not. They are taking care of their activity. That is the culture of the organization. That's what we believe. 1,000 people from our employees, they are the marketing people. They are in the field. We don't track them on their mobile or any system to see what they are doing. When the business is coming, we presume that they are doing their job. That's how it is coming. That's what we believe. So we trust people. So when you ask, maybe I said but at least people are working 10 to 14 hours also in a day. It is not by compulsion or nobody wants like that. We say that at least okay, we don't encourage people working late evening and late nights. So that we say that at least okay, you should be having a good balance between your work life and the work life and the personal life. That's what we encourage. But some compulsion may be there for people to work on certain target to complete. That's what we do. But relatively we don't spend much time. But at the same time, there may be people little bit misusing also. We cannot be micromanaging. That's what I said in the beginning when George's patent says don't micromanage. You don't tell them what to do. You tell them what is your requirement. They'll take care of that. So that is what we believe. We say that at least okay, 2,300 or 700 crore or 3,000 crore is what we are looking next year. So that is the broad guideline we give to the marketing vice president, and then it cascades down to the lowermost level so that everybody gets their share, and they work together and then they come up with the target achieved. So in the process, some people may be spending 100% time, 200% time. Some people may be spending 50% time also. But to some extent, overall, we are looking at whether the outcome is coming or not. That's all what it is possible. We cannot be, the connecting with everyone on the phone. Just like in the classroom now, it is very focused. If you shift your eye focus from the screen, so there are applications with the teachers to see whether you are listening or you are doing something else. So there are a lot of the technologies are also there, facilities are also available now, but we don't do that. We broadly give the direction and people follow that. We are fine with that. We don't have any issue. But at the same time, if there are conscious issues of deliberate attempt to not working, then naturally at some point of time they lose their job. This is what choice is there. They will get the results for what they are doing.
Yes.
Yeah, hi sir. I'm Christy. Sir, I have one question. So, like when we hear about VGuard, the first thing which comes to our mind is like stabilizer, VGuard stabilizer. So that happened before 2008, I think. After 2008, your company had uh, expanded your businesses from this stabilizer to motor pumps, many other stuffs, and that was a difficult situation, right? Like your first IPO was there in 2008. You were changing your organization culture, and that time there will be some issues in people management also. Like your employees will be more acclimatized with these things, like yeah, this stabilizers or that work culture. So how did you manage that work pressure or that employee pressure from their side? Is the employees were happy in that change which happened in your company?
No, we never experienced any, pressure as such. But at the same time, no, how we have transformed the organization. We had many initiatives we have driven in the organization. So maybe till 2010, 2012, it was an organization slowly growing. The maybe when I joined, VGuard was a 1,000 crore company. That is the time people started saying that no, it is okay, it is a 1,000 crore company. We never expected that VGuard is such a bigger organization. So we have been working with very limited systems. I remember till we were, we never had a planning team in our organization. Till the planning as a function evolved after an initiative started called, we had a UDAN. There is a supply chain transformation initiative was launched 7-8 years back. So that is the first time, at least we started talking about the planning part. Till then, there was no planning team. It doesn't mean that when we were a 1,400 crore company, there was no planning team, but there was no planning. We cannot say that. There was planning, but the impact of planning was different. So when you are selling 100 crore a month or 150 crore a month, you are creeping an inventory of 300 to 400 crore. So what has happened, with the latest technology being used and the robust policy in place, we were able to manage 300 crore inventory for a 300 crore sale a month, which means that at least the inventory carrying cost was reduced to zero. So that has given us a lot of cash. So we don't have any debt now. We are managing on our own cash. That was the improvement which has brought in. So similar to that, earlier the customer service was in the brain of one or two people in the organization. They know everything. Nobody else know anything about customer service. That was a crude system. We cannot survive an organization when it is growing with such a type of system. So what we have done is that we started with a customer service transformation initiative. So with that, we brought in a lot of system into the thing. We have established a call center in Delhi. We have established 250 authorized service providers. There are about 2,000 people working under the system. It is perfectly working. If you have a complaint, you can log in the complaint online, or you can call on the number. Immediate response will be there. Immediate action will be there. It is very fast. So that has brought in a lot of system into these processes into the organization. So with that, now many people will be able to say what is happening in the organization. We don't have to depend on one person alone. So that is the advantage we have brought in there. We have brought in the finance transformation, which is being implemented now. So these are all the initiatives, and the marketing transformation is also being carried out now. So these initiatives, it is a transformation from a small organization to a larger organization. So we started talking about 5,000 crore, 10,000 crore organization. So if you wanted to have, become a 10,000 crore organization, what are the systems and processes required in the organization? You need to build that. So that is why when we look at it, there are no number two person. There is no succession plan. If somebody is leaving the organization, then you don't have anybody for that function in that department or in the organization. It is a very critical situation. So we have brought in, it is not easy to bring in people from internally. So we have brought in with the lateral recruitment so many people into the system so that we strengthen our team. We have attached many functions. We have added planning. The sales planning is there. production plan is there, distribution planning is there, S&OP is there. So this system has come into the system, so that is one activity. Then we have, our supply chain was only some purchase activity and some logistics activity. Now it has got expanded to the planning plus strategic sourcing, supplier development. Like that, it got expanded into 3-4 verticals, and now it has a very strong team. So the process is institutionalized. So similar to that, we have the quality was our primary activity right from 1977. But now we have a strong corporate quality team with the assistant vice president heading it, with a very strong team across the organization. For all manufacturing and other activity, we have strong team. Similar to that, we have a new product development NPD team. So that is also a new thing. Earlier, some of the people in some department will be deciding what product should be brought next, what time. Everything was decided by people with their limited knowledge. Now we study the industry, we study what is happening in the market, and based that, what is the new trends coming in, what product can be brought in, and with that insight, we bring in product. Maybe it takes 3 to 6 months to launch a product. We are able to launch it and then we sell it. We have brought in an air cooler with a very short period of time. We have brought in water purifier last year, so it is going across the country. So like that, at least product after product, we brought in, and new activities are also being established. And then we brought in a lot of manufacturing excellence initiative in the organization. So that is to standardize our manufacturing. We have 11 manufacturing facilities across the country. So more facilities are being added to that. So with more facility coming in, we need to standardize our manufacturing processes so that we have a strong system in place to bring in quality product at the earliest. And we need to have very strong team supporting our R&D initiative, so that the future requirements, the requirements are met. We were having very limited knowledge on water heater. We brought in a product called the Verano water heater, which was a smart fast water heater. That was the first time a smart water heater was available in the country. You can switch on or switch off your water heater sitting anywhere in the world. So that was available. So that type of technology we brought in. So that is how we have been working on, so that the new process, new initiatives are bringing, so that this is a change management. It doesn't happen overnight. You need to socialize with the people. As I said, at least we have a lot of people who have grown with the organization. So those people, maybe around 40% people only, rest of the 60% of the people are now new people who have come in. So they are coming from different industry. They know what is happening in the industry. So the people who are there from outside and inside, we need to ensure that the change management process is established, institutionalized, and carry with the people together, so that everybody talks on the same language. So that is how we brought in. So with that, at least it was a seamless integration of technology as well as people into the latest product. We started with stabilizer. Yes, last 20 years plus we have other products also. We keep adding products every now and then. So more products are coming into our fold, and the organization is getting expanded to this thing. And we are there in the e-commerce also. It was not there earlier. We thought how we can sell it. Now there are no issues. No crores of rupees worth products are being sold in e-commerce also. We are there every segment. We will be growing fast in all segments also, so that we are one among the best industries in the segment.
So just a quick question, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, Aaron, you can.
Yeah, thank you, Christy. At first, you had actually spoke about the values that people would be bringing if they were working at home. So, do you feel that there is a positive vibe or positivity among the employees when they work, if they work from home? Like, is there any observations that you might want to share from your employees that you might have noticed during COVID, because they are with their family, everything's positive, they can manage themselves much more closely maybe. So yes, sir, your thoughts on that?
The values are important. That is why I was saying, the couple of years back, we have traveled across the country talking to people the importance of values. Earlier, it was a small organization. To a great extent, a little bit of a micromanaging, or in the sense, everybody in the organization. When it is a small organization, it is possible. So when you grow your organization, when it is 500 people, it may be easier to know everyone by name. When it becomes 3,000 people, it may not be that easy to understand. And that too happening, the expansion is, I hire about 300, 360 people every year. So that's how, the additions are coming, new people are coming. I may be interviewing most of the people, but I may not be able to remember everyone, because at least you see too many hundreds of people, so that and if you don't frequently interact, you may not be able to know them by name, except some senior people in the organization. So what happens when you are growing? You need process and systems in the organization. So we were trying to establish the process in the organization. So the value is one area where we thought that at least we need to be building in the organization. So that was very much important. So we extensively we traveled and spoke to people and made them aware that integrity issues we don't compromise. They will lose people. Many people are losing their job also. So when you do things like this over a period of time, people realize that this type of activity is not accepted in this organization. So if you do it, you will lose your job. There is no surprise. Otherwise, people will think that, no, what happened? Why suddenly that person has left the organization? So that type of thing will come. But people will understand that when you practice certain thing, it will get established and institutionalized, and then it becomes easier. So we have seen that, at least that tendency is there. Whenever we talk about this one, people understand. Earlier, I have seen that there were resistance. We asked people to say that, at least, okay, this person has done a fraud. There is a red report for him, so we'll have to relieve him. Then the branch manager will say that, no, he is an outstanding performer. I don't want to leave him. I wanted to retain him. How can I retain him? I said, no, what choice is there? Who can decide to retain him? This is a transparent organization. Whatever I do, I must be transparent to everyone. I cannot say that, no, I'm using my discretion to retain you. I don't have that so-called discretion with me. So what I do for one person, when the similar thing happen, I like to do it to the next person also. That is the transparency. That is what we are talking about. So when you talk about that and establish the principle, then people realize. Now when there is a red report comes, people will say that, no, it is okay, let him resign and go. So that is the evolution from a retention to allowing people to go. Yes, he made a mistake, let him pay the cost of that price for that, and then let him go. That approach is there. That is the improvement or the vibe you are mentioning, I am experiencing in the organization.
Great, sir. Thank you for answering that.
Yeah, we have our chapter chairman, Joe Workey, also in the forum. You are not audible, Joe.
No, PJ, I was saying, I was listening to you, and many of the factors or many of the points that you mentioned are similar in our organization also, probably because we are neighbors. I work with Malayalam and Orma for the information of the others, and so I think the values that we got carry, it's something that is really something that everybody appreciates. And in our organization too, we also carry a lot of values which are people friendly, but at the same time, like he said, we carry or we look after the culture of organization like the pupil of our eye. And if people do not meet our values, or people, what he said, one particular aspect that we do not give a second chance is on integrity. That is something that we value really well. So, PT, let's hear you. Let's anyway keep going. I was just on the sidelines, just listening to you.
Okay. Yes, Christy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So it is very happy from our side that all our Kerala chapter office bearers are also there in this meeting. So it is our glad and it is our pleasure that in our meeting uh, you all people are here. So as we had approached our end time, so we are going to give this end note with Shrine. So I would welcome Shrine to give the vote of thanks. So please, Shrine.
Thank you, Christian. Good evening, everyone. As the session is emerging towards the end, I would like to express my gratitude on behalf of the NIPM student chapter and SOMS to Mr. P.T. George for taking time for the session from his busy schedule. Thank you, sir, for making us aware of the issues of people management. We have Remya M. Jose, a former student of SOMS and currently working with VGuard as the talent management head. Also, we have members from NIPM NIPM Kerala chapter, especially Mr. Joe Verki. Thank you for joining us. We are extremely honored to have your presence. I would like to thank Jitin Chakalikil and Srijit sir for guiding us throughout the organizing the event. A special thanks to the team who worked behind the success of the event. Lastly, I thank all the participants for their active presence. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all for the patient listening. Thank you, Jidin, for the opportunity, and Joe Varki for giving me this opportunity to have the interaction with all of you. Thank you, team Christy and the students there.